A traumatic event involves significant, actual, or threatened harm, physical or psychological, to oneself or others. These events span a vast range from personal losses like miscarriage and divorce to violent experiences such as rape, torture, and witnessing acts that starkly violate one's moral beliefs. It also includes severe accidents, life-threatening illnesses, and their medical treatments. Trauma can also stem from incidents where individuals instigate, fail to prevent, or witness actions that violate their deeply held values. Building on this, a trauma-related disorder involves several key aspects, but I'll give you three. First is direct or indirect experiences of these traumatic events. Second, distressing emotional, cognitive, physiological reactions to those experiences. And third, the inability to cope effectively with those intense reactions. In our discussion today, when we refer to trauma, we mean trauma-related disorders, an umbrella term for a vast array of problems resulting from these traumatic experiences. Understanding the depth and breadth of trauma is the first step toward addressing its effects on our lives. Trauma-related disorders can mask the trauma history that underpins them, leaving it deeply buried and long forgotten. Meaning you can get a PTSD diagnosis based on symptoms that you have and can give you kind of a vague story and trauma history, but doesn't really deal with all of the story, all of the incidents that led up to that disorder. So whether we talk about simple trauma, reactions to one major traumatic event, or complex trauma relating to many traumatic events over a long period of time, often starting in childhood, there are many shades of gray between these extremes. However, all trauma involves three streams of symptoms. People may relive trauma through nightmares, flashbacks, rumination, and intrusive cognitions and emotions. These experiences are not just unpleasant, they can trigger intense emotional and physical reactions. Hypoarousal, or fight or flight mode, can lead to anger, irritability, fear, anxiety, hypervigilance, difficulty sleeping, and poor concentration. Hypoarousal, or freeze or flop mode, involves the immobilization and shutting down of the body, fostering apathy, lethargy, disengagement, emotional numbing, and dissociative states. The overarching aim of ACT is to develop psychological flexibility, which means being present, open, and engaged in life. Psychological inflexibility, on the other hand, is the opposite. Psychological inflexibility has some common features, so let's break each of these down. Cognitive fusion, when our thoughts dominate our awareness and actions, making them seem like commands that we need to obey. Experiential avoidance, the ongoing attempt to avoid unpleasant thoughts, emotions, and sensations, even when it's problematic. Remoteness from values, lack of clarity or disconnection from what truly matters. Unworkable action, ineffective behaviors that worsen life in the long term, like social withdrawal, self-harm, and substance use. Loss of contact with the present moment, distractibility, disengagement, and disconnection from our thoughts, feelings. These three streams of symptoms, re-experiencing trauma, extremes of arousal, and psychological inflexibility, overlap and reinforce each other in complex ways, giving rise to a vast range of clinical issues. Understanding these streams is crucial for effective treatment and healing. In cases of trauma, complexity can be a barrier to treatment. In ACT, we often use metaphors to help explain complex psychological concepts. One powerful metaphor that's appropriate for trauma-informed therapy is by Russ Harris, called the Caveman Mind. And this is how it goes. Our minds have evolved to prioritize safety, avoiding threats, and protecting us from harm. This Stone Age mindset helped our ancestors survive by being constantly alert to dangers like predators and rival tribes. However, in today's world, the same mindset can lead to problems. Our modern minds react to difficult thoughts, feelings, and memories the same way a Stone Age mind might react to dangerous beasts, through fight, flight, or freeze responses. For example, the caveman mind might say, "Watch out, there might be a bear in that cave." The modern mind might say, "Worrying, catastrophizing, and avoiding anything that scares us." The caveman mind might say, "Watch out, there was a saber-toothed tiger on that hill last week. It might come back." The modern mind might project the painful past into a scary future and say, "It happened before, so it'll happen again." These reactions can be helpful in real dangers, but problematic when applied to psychological stressors. Our minds are doing what they were designed to do: protect us. Unfortunately, this protective mechanism can lead to patterns of avoidance, hypervigilance, and other symptoms that disrupt our lives. Understanding this can be liberating. It shows us that our reactions are not signs of weakness, but indications of a mind doing its job, perhaps too well. With ACT, we learn to observe those reactions without judgment, understand their origins, and gently guide ourselves towards actions that align with our values, even in the face of discomfort. By acknowledging the role of our caveman minds in today's modern world, we can begin to change our relationship with our thoughts and feelings. This helps us to take a step back from them and make choices that lead to healing and growth rather than avoidance and fear. Trauma-focused ACT, or TFACT, is a compassion-based, exposure-centered approach to doing ACT, which is trauma-informed, trauma-aware, and trauma-sensitive. TFACT has 3 interweaving strands that apply to all trauma-related issues: living in the present, healing the past, and building the future. Living in the present includes helping clients ground themselves, unhook from difficult emotions, practice self-compassion, and engage in value-based actions. Healing the past involves exploring how past experiences shape present behaviors, working with traumatic memories, and fostering forgiveness and grieving. Building the future focuses on value-based goal setting and preparing for post-traumatic growth. In summary, ACT provides powerful tools for understanding and managing trauma. By recognizing our evolved responses and learning to navigate them with acceptance and commitment, we can build more flexible, value-driven lives. Thank you for tuning in. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Don't miss my upcoming video, ACT and DBT. Until next time, remember your journey towards a more purposeful and mindful life begins with a single click.